Hello everyone, here Chris Capri, founder of Second Skies. On July 3rd, the day before the fireworks, but fireworks came a little early with the NFP today and the ECB rate decision and announcement. And we saw some major reversals in these pairs, and that's kind of what I'd like to talk about, is some great reversal candles, where if you can learn to spot these, you can become really adept at finding excellent reversals in the AFX market and actually across all markets. Let's take a look at some of these here. First I want to talk about here is what I call a bullish engulfing pattern. It's an engulfing pattern. We have a steady, smooth downtrend happening here. Several candles all selling off for a decent amount here from 58.50 down to 57.80. Nice 70 pip run. But then one candle hits the exact same bottom, dips below the previous low, and then actually busts through the previous high of the previous candle here and closes above it. So this is an engulfing candle where the candle completely engulfs the previous one here. These types of reversals are usually very strong. If you notice, a lot of the wicks were to the downside here, but nothing could really actually have anything where it opened at the low and then closed pretty much at the high. So this is an excellent example of an engulfing candle here, engulfing reversal pattern here. Usually when these things happen, I like to go long at the open of the next candle. I like to wait for this one to complete itself, and I go long at the open of the next candle, looking for generally a 61.8 or a full retracement of this type move here. That's exactly what happened here. In fact, it did a beyond a retracement of that here. All right, let's take a look at another one here. This one is a little bit different. Have a little bit of consolidation, and then this one I'm going to call it how would I call this? The Hammer of Thor reversal pattern here. This is just where we have something that kind of is selling off just a little bit. It opens up and then it dips down very heavy in one long wick here, kind of creating a very long Thor type hammer. Now it finds support ironically right at the 101 level, but then it finds such a strong market response that it boom shoots back up and it closes at the high. So pretty much it has so much bullishness once it finds a support there that it just climbs for the rest of the hour here and closes at the top there. So it closes right at the top there. This to me is what I call my Thor hammer reversal here. When you see this one's a great time to get in at the open of the next candle because the probabilities of it going long on the next candle are very high if we dip down and then got bought up to the point where for the last second of the hour it closed at the top. So these things usually reverse very sharp, and I like to get in on the open of the next candle, and on the close of that candle is where I like to get out. Alright, this one I'm going to call this the Harbinger of Death here. I'm not sure if that's an official name, but it might be now. So this was actually what happened with the euro dollar today in the after the ECB announcement. So it got a pretty conservative, consolidated going into the announcement here. And then the words from Trichet weren't as strong as everybody thought they would be. They were expecting much more, potential more rate hikes. Well, then the thing just pretty much does the triple lending off the high dive here, pretty much right off the 3 meter. And it destroys an entire day's worth of price action here. So I'm going to call this the Harbinger of Death Week because of this. Or we could call it the triple lending, which would be the other one here. But this one 30-minute candle wipes out an entire day's worth of price action here. That means that pretty much all the big players are unloading in mass exodus here. And so when you see those kind of candles and it takes out a previous day's support, what I like to do is find the open and the close of the candle, measure the distance of it here. It's about 122 pips from top to bottom here. And what I like to do is target the same distance in terms of this actual candle here. But what I'll do is a 2-lot position. My first lot will target half the distance of the candle here, which would be about 64 pips. And as you can see, after several more hours of selling, we hit the first target 64 pips here. My stop will be the middle of the range here. And then as soon as I hit my first target, I'm bringing the stop to free. And then I'm going to let this ride for the same distance as the initial candle was here. So that is the Harbinger of Death. Okay, so this one here is what I would call a double outside evening star. So this is where we have a nice little steady trend here. It's pretty consistent, smooth, a lot of blue candles all the way up. And then we run into a particular price level, which happened to be a previous resistance here. Creates a little doji there, and then creates an evening star reversal candle here. Now, traditional evening stars suggest that the close of the third candle has to close at the midpoint of the other candle. This one is really too close to call. It's more of like a photo finish here. So what I generally like to do is if I get that close, I like to wait for one more confirmation candle. And this is the double evening star here basically, where the second candle opens up and then it closes outside of the bullish candle leading up to the doji here. When you have that, I like to get in at the open of the next candle here. And usually a reversal pattern of this magnitude, it's pretty probable that you're going to not only take out the 32, that the most likely targets are the 50 and the 61.8. In fact, the stronger the reversal, the likelihood, the deeper you're going to go towards your retracement levels here. 50% is almost a done deal. 61.8 becomes a very high probability. We had a little bit of stalling, and then we right to it, and then we actually went past it, threatening a full retracement here. So that's the double evening star. Okay, so here's another example of the Hammer of Thor. So this is the dollar CAD moving into this very long consolidation here. As you can see, very, very long consolidation here. Super strong wick. Boom, closes in. We get in the open next candle, out of the next, close of the next candle. Nice little, what is that here? It's about 50 pips in about an hour. Very nice day's worth of work on a standard lot that's $500 an hour. I'll take that hourly rate. Alright, and then we got two more here. So this is again very much kind of like, this is actually an official evening star here. So we have a nice long trend on the euro pound. We run into resistance right at 8,000, the big figure, create the doji, and then the third candle not only closes past the midpoint, but it completely engulfs the bullish candle leading up to the doji here. So we don't need a second candle to confirm this one. We just get in on the open of the next candle, and we'll target both the 50 and the 60.8. So it's a two-lot position. Your first lot should target the 50%. The second lot should target the 60.8. Boom, we've reached that already. And so this is very swift and very powerful. When you see reversal patterns of this magnitude, they generally don't even try and go for the 38.2. It's too easy a target. Go for the 50 and the 61.8 on this one here. And then the last one we're going to talk about here is an outside reversal. Now this is actually only half the trend. The other half went way further. So this is just half the trend, but we're going to show you. We have a nice long trend here. Here's just one portion from 96.50 all the way up to 103.50. A nice 700 pip run with no outside reversal. And then in one candle, we not only create a whole new high, but then we slam below the previous day's low, close outside the previous day's low. In fact, we actually close outside 4 days lows here and actually eat into the 5th day's lows. And so when you see a massive reversal like this, that pretty much means short-term traders are not going to be in it. They're going to wake up in Japan, see this candle, and they're going to be selling right off the open. So what I like to do is I like to get in the open of this candle. I put my stop 10 pips above the previous day open on this little candle right here. And I measure the distance here. The distance of this candle is about 142 pips. So I will target 142 pips on the move here. And that's exactly what happens here. Boom, we have a nice 140 pip touchdown after 3 days, and then we're out of the position here. So this is your general projection for the price target here. All right, in conclusion, reversal candles are very, very powerful, especially when you learn to identify them. They're very intuitive in terms of the information they're giving you. They're kind of just giving you huge clues in terms of order flow, telling you, hey, you know, we were bought heavily for a while here, and then massive orders came in and completely took that out. Probabilities of us continuing this direction are very, very strong. Strong reversals, speaking of them, generally don't go for the 38.2. It's too easy a target. Go for the 50 and 61.8 retracements on that one there. And then one other thing to note, sell-offs across all markets are traditionally stronger than buy-ups, mostly because of fear. When somebody's afraid that something's going to tank, they don't hesitate to pull money out of it. But when somebody wants to invest in something, they usually take their time and spend a little bit more time coming in slowly to invest in that particular stock, commodity, option, whatever. All right, and lastly here, for those of you that are looking for private education and mentoring, I specialize in taking a handful of traders each month, and no matter what your level is, I can take you from 0 to profitability inside 30 days. I do this every single month with a handful of traders again and again and again. Some people are also looking for systems to trade the market. This saves you time from having to do all the analysis, and that's what the Sniper system does. So it's several proprietary institutional grade systems that can pretty much just save you time and energy and bring you to a level of 70% profitability. And then for those of you who want trade signals and live market analysis, I also do that twice a week. If you're interested in any of these services, email me info@2ndskies.com. Otherwise, visit our website www.2ndskies.com. Until then, have a great July 4th and good hunting, everyone.